Witcher, 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 there's fish people drowning our sheep in the river!
Sounds like drowners. Gonna need spicy mayo.
Okay.
Oil my blade. Witcher magic for every occasion. Killing monsters is what I do.
Okay, can you hurry?
Witcher! A vampire ate my mom!
A Dracula. Needs garlic butter.
Millions of people are canceling their Netflix subscriptions. Why Netflix stock is absolutely tanking right now. I mean, it is just collapsing totally in the red. And you can see that it is on a massive downward slope this month. It's cratering. Why is that happening?
South Park didn't just joke about The Witcher. They annihilated it live on TV, roasting Netflix so hard the clip went viral within minutes. Millions watched in shock as the parody exposed everything fans had been screaming for years. And inside Netflix, executives suddenly realized this wasn't satire anymore. This was a warning. Netflix expected backlash from season 4, but nobody predicted a cultural explosion. The moment South Park aired its brutal Geralt parody, the internet turned into a wildfire. Memes spread faster than Netflix could delete comments, dragging the show into global humiliation. What was supposed to be a simple recast suddenly looked like the biggest mistake in the franchise's history.
Let me ask you guys something. Are you excited for Witcher Season 4?
Isn't it out right now on Netflix?
Just coming out, and the reviews have started to drop. So
Because I looked on Rotten Tomatoes, and bear in mind, given the backlash, I would expect a little bit of review bombing. So people who haven't seen it but who hate the concept. Oh no, you're behind, Drinker.
Is it changed?
It's down to 17.
Inside the Los Angeles headquarters, alarms were going off everywhere, real-time dashboards showed watch time collapsing, retention falling off a cliff, and subscriber cancellations spiking. Employees whispered that South Park did more damage in one night than all 4 Witcher seasons combined. And at the top of the building, the CEO was demanding answers before the entire franchise bled out. Ted Sarandos wasn't angry. He was furious. He marched into a private meeting with the Witcher creators, slamming data on the table as the room froze. For the first time ever, Netflix's most powerful executive confronted them face to face, demanding accountability because after South Park destroyed The Witcher on national television, one thing became clear. The fans were right all along.
I'm the most annoying guy on set because I'm saying, excuse me, you do realize that this should be happening and they wouldn't do that, and you haven't read this, then that means this would be impossible. And everyone's just going, Henry, just shut up and do the thing. And I'm like, I don't want to do the thing because he wouldn't do it this way, and he can't.
And I guess bringing in a new White Wolf at this point in the season, a bold move and a tall order for Liam.
And of course, he wanted to honor the character that had already been set up because he knows that he's stepping into a role. But at the same time, he wanted to make sure that his performance was authentic, that it felt like him, that he wasn't playing and mimicking anything. And so
South Park didn't just parody Witcher Season 4. They dismantled it point by point, exposing every weak spot in front of millions. The episode roasted Netflix's rewrites, the Geralt recast, and the show's collapsing identity. It was brutal, precise, and instantly unforgettable. Within minutes, clips from the episode swept across TikTok, and X-fans couldn't believe how accurately South Park captured everything wrong with the new season. Edits comparing the parody Geralt to Liam Hemsworth's real scenes went viral. It felt like the internet finally had the perfect weapon to fight back. Entertainment channels jumped on the moment YouTubers uploaded breakdowns calling the parody a public execution of the franchise. Even critics who stayed silent before were suddenly admitting the show had lost its soul. South Park had done what fans couldn't, force the world to pay attention. Inside Netflix, the mood went from confident to terrified. The Witcher wasn't just being criticized, it was being humiliated. When memes outperform the real show, disaster isn't incoming. It's already here, and South Park had just opened the floodgates. The moment South Park aired, Rotten Tomatoes ratings collapsed. Audience score nosedived into the teens. Critics dragged the series even lower. Fans declared Season 4 unwatchable, calling it a hollow imitation. The damage was instant and irreversible. TikTok turned into a battlefield. Henry Cavill clips resurfaced everywhere, showing how much the role depended on him. Side-by-side edits proved the contrast between authenticity and forced replacement, and viewers shared the same message. "This isn't Geralt anymore!" Reddit exploded in outrage. Threads accused the show of disrespecting the books, the lore, and the entire fanbase. Some called it the worst adaptation failure Netflix ever produced, and South Park amplified and validated every single complaint. What shocked Netflix most wasn't hate, it was the speed of the collapse. Season 4 became a punchline overnight, and the recast turned into the defining mistake of the year. Netflix monitors everything in real time. And as South Park's parody spread, the dashboards began flashing warnings everywhere. Viewership dropped minute by minute as subscribers quit halfway through the first episode. Executives watched the numbers fall like a waterfall with no bottom retention curves hit historic lows. Users didn't just stop watching, they turned off Netflix entirely. Cancellations surged in multiple countries within hours of the parody going viral. The Witcher became the platform's biggest liability overnight. Internal emails leaked within days. One employee wrote, "South Park just did more damage than all fan backlash combined." Another admitted the recast was never accepted internally. The truth was finally out. Netflix saw this disaster coming and did nothing. The board demanded emergency explanations. Investors questioned whether the franchise was still salvageable. Even longtime executives panicked at the unprecedented data drop. And all roads pointed back to one decision: ignoring the fans. Ted Sarandos doesn't usually get involved with creative teams, but after South Park humiliated Netflix live on air, he had no choice. He personally summoned the Witcher creators to a late-night meeting. The atmosphere was icy from the moment they walked in. Ted slammed internal charts across the conference table. Ratings collapse, retention failure, subscription loss, all tied to Season 4. Then, he asked the question that froze the room: why did South Park understand Geralt better than we did? The creators defended their choices. They claimed the audience needed time to accept the new direction. They suggested the backlash was exaggerated and mostly emotional. But Ted wasn't buying a single word. For the first time, the CEO openly blamed the team. He said fans weren't being dramatic. They were being honest. He told them the franchise was collapsing because leadership ignored warnings. And the meeting ended with one message: fix this or lose everything. The fanbase didn't just celebrate South Park's roast, they turned it into a rallying cry. Reddit threads with thousands of comments declared the parody more canon than the show. And the memes became a unified symbol of rebellion. Hashtags erupted across social media. Hashtag South Park was right. Quickly went global. Hashtag bring back. Henry reached millions within 2 days. It wasn't just criticism anymore, it was a fan-led uprising. TikTok creators stitched the parody into endless reactions. Everyone mocked the recast, the writing, the pacing, the tone Witcher fans from the books, the games, and the show united for the first time, and all of them pointed their anger at Netflix. Even entertainment journalists joined in articles called the parody perfectly accurate. Some said South Park did what critics were too scared to say, and Netflix watched helplessly as the cultural narrative slipped out of their hands. Netflix rushed into damage control. They released glowing articles praising Liam Hemsworth's fresh energy. They dropped behind-the-scenes clips showing cast hugs and forced positivity. But fans weren't fooled for a single second. Every PR post became a meme. Comment sections filled with thousands of jokes quoting South Park's parody. Viewers mocked Netflix for trying to rewrite reality instead of fixing the show. Anything the platform posted turned into instant backlash. Internal marketing staff panicked. They tried boosting positive tweets, promoting critic reviews, and burying negativity. But none of it worked, because the parody shifted the entire internet. South Park had already defined the conversation, and Netflix had lost control. Even investors noticed the mess. Reports warned that public trust had evaporated. The Witcher no longer looked like a struggling show. It looked like a public disaster, and Netflix's credibility was slowly slipping through their fingers. By week 2, Netflix executives entered crisis mode. Data analysts presented retention curves shaped like cliffs. Financial teams calculated how much money the franchise was losing daily, and the numbers were worse than anyone expected. Season 5 was placed under internal review. Executives questioned whether filming should continue at all. Some whispered about cancellation, others wanted a full reboot. The Witcher had turned radioactive and no one wanted to touch it. Departments began quietly moving staff. Producers were reassigned, writers were relocated, and internal notes tightened. Everyone feared being tied to the collapse that South Park amplified. No one wanted their name attached to Netflix's biggest embarrassment of the year. The biggest shock came from the board. They admitted the franchise might not recover. They admitted fans had been right from day one, and they admitted Netflix's creative arrogance had finally blown up. Ted Sarandos refused to let the franchise die without a fight. He formed a small confidential team inside Netflix, handpicking only the most trusted voices. A mix of executives, strategists, lore experts, and outside consultants brought in quietly. And their mission was simple but terrifying: rebuild The Witcher from the ground up before it collapsed entirely. This plan was codenamed Project White Wolf, a title chosen to signal a full reset. An attempt to restore the identity fans loved before everything spiraled out of control. The team studied the books, the games, the Cavill interpretation, and years of fan feedback. They analyzed every mistake made since the recast and documented where the series began losing its soul. The boldest idea came last and shocked the room. A soft reboot retelling Geralt's story closer to the original novels, with deeper focus on lore, possibly bringing Henry Cavill back as a producer, advisor, or long-term creative anchor guiding future seasons, a move that would signal to fans that Netflix had finally learned from the backlash and was ready to change course. Nothing was confirmed yet, but the rumors spread like wildfire inside the industry. Fans said South Park may have accidentally saved the franchise by forcing Netflix to face reality. Industry insiders whispered that Netflix was preparing a redemption arc bigger than anything planned before, because the current timeline was too damaged to survive, and only a bold rebirth could restore trust. South Park didn't just roast Witcher Season 4, they exposed a deeper problem within Netflix's creative leadership. A culture that stopped listening to fans, ignored warnings, and dismissed criticism, and the parody made that arrogance impossible to hide. Analysts used The Witcher as a cautionary tale. They argued that streaming giants can't rely on hype, algorithms, or branding. They showed how disrespecting source material destroys loyalty instantly, and they proved fans now have more power than ever before. The entertainment industry took notice. Showrunners across multiple franchises reconsidered their creative strategies. Studios feared being the next target of cultural backlash. And Netflix quietly realized how fragile their fantasy empire truly was. By this point, South Park's parody wasn't a joke. It was a turning point, a wake-up call, and a public audit. The Witcher didn't fall because of one decision. It fell because the fans finally fought back. Netflix must now save. In the end, South Park didn't bring down The Witcher alone. They simply shined a spotlight on everything fans had already felt: the loss of authenticity, the disrespect to the lore, the careless decisions. And Netflix was forced to face consequences. It could no longer outrun fans, reclaim the narrative. They proved that loyalty cannot be taken for granted. They showed that no amount of PR, marketing, or spin can overpower truth, especially when millions unite around a single moment of cultural humiliation. Inside Netflix, executives now walk carefully. They know the next fantasy project could face the same wrath. They know ignoring the audience is a direct path to destruction. And they know Project White Wolf may be their last chance at redemption. So now, the world waits. Will Netflix rebuild The Witcher into something worthy, or will the franchise remain a symbol of arrogance, failure, and broken trust? One thing is certain: South Park's message will echo for years to come.